Dear colleagues, good afternoon. Well, from some of you, good morning. For some of you, good evening. We have guests from all over the world. We are very happy to welcome you from the library of the Cineteca, the film archive of Bologna, a special place that hosts a film archive, a documentation of over 47,000 volumes and documents with the aim of documenting the theoretical and technical evolution of Italian and international cinema. We will talk about the special place in the last farm trip next Thursday at 5:30. But today's subject is a very thrilling subject of our tourist offer, Motor Valley, where the speed was born. Well, the Motor Valley of Emilia-Romagna covers the entire region. It goes from Varano de Melegari, close to Parma, with Dallara Automobili. He's the single supplier of the chassis, the body of the car, of the IndyCar series, Indianapolis. And it stretches down to the coast, to the southeast of the region, in the so-called Riders' Land, a magical territory that historically generates Italian and international championship in motorcycling. Well, nowhere else in the world you will find such a concentration of motor brands as in the Motor Valley of Emilia-Romagna. To explain you further the value of the Motor Valley, I have three special guests here with me, and we start with Luca Sandri of Modena Tour, and especially he's representing today at Motosite, the special part of the tour operator involved in motors and motor offer. Well, Luca, what is the Motor Valley?
Hello everybody, first of all, and thanks for attending this workshop. Motor Valley is an area located in the center of the Emilia-Romagna that goes from the central part of the region and goes down until the seaside. Our company is located in Modena, which is in the center of the region, as you can see from this map. And in the district between Modena and Bologna, there are all the most important producers of Italian sport cars. Of course, Motor Valley means Ferrari, because it's one of the most easily recognizable brand in the world. We have the Ferrari factory, a few kilometers far from Modena, in a small town called Maranello. And the images that you are seeing now are the two museums that belong to the Ferrari company. The first one is located in Maranello, and it's more like dedicated to the Formula One world, racing, so you can find trophies, memorabilia of the drivers. And the other one is a brand new museum opened in the city center of Modena, where the father of Enzo Ferrari started his business as a mechanical company. So we have two Ferrari museums, but Motor Valley doesn't mean only Ferrari, because we are so lucky we can count on others very famous producers, such as Lamborghini in Sant'Agata Bolognese, where it's possible to attend factory tours to see how the cars are made, and it's possible to visit the Mudatec, the museum that belongs to the Lamborghini company.
Yeah, this is, sorry to interrupt you, this is important to underline. Not only museum, but there are some museums that allowed also a factory tour, as you were saying.
Yes, exactly. Let's say, first of all, the brands that are built in our region, in our Motor Valley, are Ferrari, Lamborghini, Ducati, Pagani Automobili, and of course Maserati in the city center of Modena.
Then let's start from the most iconic brand of the region, which is Ferrari.
Yes.
Where can we learn more about the prancing horse of Ferrari?
The prancing horse, the symbol of Ferrari, is possible to be visited starting from the two museums, as I said, in Maranello and Modena. Then it's possible to make tours of the Fiorano test drive track that belongs to the company. And then there are, as we said, other companies. that allowed guided tours inside, because unfortunately Ferrari doesn't let tourist activities inside the factory, but there are other companies that allow that, which are Pagani Automobili, located a few kilometers far from Modena, in San Cesario sul Panaro. Pagani is one of the most iconic producers of super sports car. It's more like an atelier than a factory, because the cars are handmade one by one in this very beautiful and new factory that the founder of the company, Mr. Orazio Pagani, dedicated to Italy as a country. So this is the founder of the company. He came from Argentina, started working as a mechanical in the Lamborghini factory, and now he's at the top of one of the most expensive cars that can be bought and sold up to 2.5 million. So
I don't know if you would like to say that the price, an average price of a car, of a Pagani car.
It's quite expensive, yes, it's quite expensive.
Let's say very, very expensive.
Yes, definitely. So we can organize tours to see this kind of production, to see the museum. And then moving south along the Via Emilia, we encounter the Lamborghini factory. Also in the Lamborghini factory, it's possible to organize guided tours and tours at the museum in the Mudetec, this brand new technology museum that has been recently reorganized and refurbished by the company. The museum is located inside the historical factory in Sant'Agata Bolognese, the one and only factory that produces and sells Lamborghini cars that now are spread literally all over the world. This is the company in Sant'Agata Bolognese.
Okay, then the passion of speed cars in the territory is shown also by some private collection.
Yes, definitely. One of the most iconic private collections that can be visited in our area is the Umberto Panini collection, held by the Ombre Farm. It is the most important and most famous, let's say, private Maserati cars collection. Because Maserati doesn't have a real, an official museum, let's say. It's possible to make tours at the factory of Maserati in city center of Modena, at the showroom, which now also hosts the brand new MC20, a supercar that has been recently released by the company. And the images that we are seeing here is this private collection. In fact, the area of Modena holds different private collection, because the passion of the owners of our territory opened the doors of their private collection, of their houses, of their castles, to let the cars enthusiasts visit this kind of place. So we mentioned the Umberto Panini collection, but it's also possible to make tours at the Righini collection, hosted by the Castello di Panzano, so it's a very unique location. And then it's also possible to visit the Stanguellini Museum. It's another small private museum. Stanguellini was one of the first mechanical that started modifying Fiat engines to make the cars more fast for the cars. So we can say it's a sort of godfather of the motorsports in Modena. So yeah, factories, museum, and private collection as well. These three big visiting topics create a menu which is worth a visit, from my point of view, to the Motor Valley.
Yeah, and we can say that all the speed car and two wheels enthusiasts in the Motor Valley may find their dreamland. But how can a visitor experience the rumble of the engine? So not only visit, not only factory tours, what else?
Well, first of all, cars are made to be driven. So it's possible to organize a test drive on the Motor Valley, to go from one museum to a factory. It's possible to make test drive on the open street with supercars like Ferrari or Lamborghini, or it's possible also to have classic car rental. And of course, Motor Valley is also the land where it's possible to test the cars on the racetrack. So there are a lot of different circuits in our region. We are seeing the circuit of Modena in this case, where it's possible to make also safe drive classes, events. and incentive meetings. Is a small circuit located very few kilometers far from the city center. So it's a nice location for small groups or individuals who want to test their skills driving cars.
But also for those who are maybe a bit scared of driving, an experience that we often organize also during the fam trip is just sitting next to a pilot and do some tours on the racetrack. So that gives you the thrilling of speedness without really the responsibility of driving.
Yes, actually, it's even better from my point of view to make this kind of activity close to a professional pilot, because the professional pilot can really stress the car until it's really limited. So sometimes the client driving the car is a little bit, scared of breaking something.
We saw people changing the color of their face.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, it was
sometimes
really
it happens, but still.
really thrilling and appreciated anyway.
It's a soft activity anyway. I mean, everybody can do it, so don't worry about it.
Okay, okay. The racetrack of Modena also has some events, some motor events.
It's actually, Autodromo di Modena doesn't host big events. It's a small circuit. As I said, it's located close to the city center. It's more like a place where it's possible to organize a small event, half-day activities. Is a nice place for the MICE industry, because it's possible to have small dinner. It has some small business areas. So yeah, it's kind of easy to organize small events in this kind of circuit.
That's perfect. Okay. So I think we can slowly carry on our moto journey along the Via Emilia, and we do a pit stop in a special place that is Imola, and we visit there the Imola racetrack, a racetrack dedicated to Enzo and Dino Ferrari, a place compared to the racetrack of Imola that hosts very important sport event. To introduce the Imola racetrack, we have Agnese Commissari, who works in the tourist office of Inside, which is inside of the racetrack, and who will tell us something more about this historical racetrack.
Well, hello everybody. Yes, I will be talking about a little bit of the story of Imola racetrack, which is dedicated to Enzo and Dino Ferrari, as Celia just said. Actually, the name of Imola has always been connected to the name of Formula One, which hosted the glorious years of the Formula One from '79 until 2006. The story of the track starts a little bit earlier than that. Everything started from a dream of a man from Imola. His name was Checco Costa, and he was very passionate about motorcycles. So his dream was to have a permanent racetrack in his own town in which he could start organizing those big races, international races that were already very famous in the world, but in Italy they were still missing. So he starts working on these dreams, and he realizes that he cannot do it by himself. So he starts involving more and more people, starting from the locals. And then he manages to get the attention of the great ones. This great one is another dreamer of that same generation, which we just mentioned, who is Enzo Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari sees his own dream, who was the one of making the fastest cars ever, in a certain way reflected in Checco Costa's dream. So they start working together, and they make the dream become reality. And the racetrack starts hosting the first races in the early 50s. So the opening of the track is 1953. From that day on, the track started to get the attention of the international world dedicated to motorsport. So Formula One makes the first appearance in Imola in 1963. Wow. With an unofficial GP, actually, but that is the first seed of the story starting to grow. Formula One becomes almost a local for Imola people from '79 until 2006 with San Marino GP. Then 2006 is the year of changing, so many things change, and unfortunately the track loses the main event of the calendar.
But there is a very important but.
Exactly.
Big news for Imola racetrack.
Yeah, 2020 brought a lot of difficulties in the world, but we had this great luck and this great opportunity of hosting again the Formula 1 GP, which this year will be dedicated to Emilia Romagna. So this has to be the great moment to announce it to everybody. It will be on November 1st.
Yes, that's really an amazing news for Emilia Romagna, for the Motor Valley, to enhance and to underline the importance of the region for motors, for speedness, speed engines, and so on. But since 2006, the racetrack itself changed a lot. Many things has been built, some new part has been built, so a visitor can also enjoy the racetrack, not only people, not only pilots.
Exactly. From 2006, many things have been changed, many modernities have been brought to the track. On the racing point of view, so many parts of the track have been modified just to be in line with the new safety standards, of course, and the new welcoming area for the tourists that come and visit the track has been opened a couple of years ago. So today, the visitors part of the track, the tourist hub, hosts a local museum dedicated to Checco Costa, the founder of the racetrack itself, a private restaurant, an info point featuring also a simulation center, and guided tour of the track, which we are seeing just right now. This is a way of seeing the track from the inside, just to be in peace and to have the time of exploring every corner, of course, along with a guide that tells the story and enhances the experience of the historical track of Imola.
Sure. Just to mention, I think we need to mention also that the racetrack of Imola is the place where Ayrton Senna had his deadly accident. There was an anniversary a couple of years ago, and it's very nice to see that people coming from all over the world, many visitors from Brazil who are visiting the racetrack, and local people as well are so close to this character. He was a very famous pilot, but also a beloved person. There is a monument to commemorate this person that you can see during the tour,
yes,
isn't it?
Of course. You, with the tour, you get to stop and visit the monument to Senna, which has been placed there in 1997, just to commemorate forever the memory of this great driver, who was also an amazing man, which is the reason why today is so much love and so much remembered from all over the world. There is a visitor path right in the park that's in the middle of the track that lets you see corners of the track and leads you straight to the monument. So you can also enjoy a visit to the track from the outside, so you can enjoy the racing while taking a look. The monument dedicated to Ayrton Senna is actually located in the park, in the middle of the racetrack, which is always possible to go visit, which is also a different way to visit the track, so not interrupting the racing activity, so you can enjoy the rumble of the engines while having another look at the park and being in the nature inside the park. Ayrton Senna is a really fun character for the track and for the racing world fans. Senna was a Brazilian driver. He passed away in a car crash during the San Marino GP of 1994. It was held in Imola, of course. And he somehow managed to get to the heart of the people just by showing that he was a humble man, just a simple person, loving what he was doing, but especially not hiding his own feelings. So he's always showed what a man feels, without being afraid, without having any mask on. And he was representing the people of Brazil by holding up all the values of the Brazilian people. So I think this is the reason why today Senna is still Senna, is a legend, is an icon. And we are very fond of him as well, and we commemorate him every year with the Ayrton Day, which is held at the track every May 1st, which is the anniversary of the accident. I always want to remember that on the same GP, another great driver lost his life. His name was Roland Ratzenberger. He was from Austria. And the story remembers the great ones, but sometimes tends to forget the other ones. Oh. And Roland had just started his career in Formula One, so not many people knew him. But for us, it's still very fond and really important to remember him as well. And last year, during the 25th anniversary of Ayrton Senna's passing, we had the chance of hosting Ratzenberger's father and mother. And it was such an emotional moment, which brings up all the story that's made in the track every day.
Sure, I can imagine. But Agnese, beside the tour by bus on the racetrack, there are some other tourist possibilities. You mentioned a museum, you mentioned the machines where you can simulate. So visitors can enjoy the racetrack even when there's nothing going on during the race.
Where it's really difficult to find a silent day with no activity on the track. But yes, the visitor gets to the track and finds what he's looking for. He finds information just to understand how they can explore the track. And of course, they get the chance of driving on the track with virtual simulation. So we have 4 driving simulators in GT Asset and 1 Formula One simulator in which you can drive and have the thrill of driving on Imola track, even if you're not actually on the track, you're just very close to it.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing the visitors can do, and yes, choose to join a guided tour with us, or they can, as I just mentioned, have a look in the park and take a walk around and have a look at the racing activity while exploring all around.
That's great. Okay then, so let's stay on the Via Emilia, and we arrived at the very end of it, as I was saying, in the Riders' Land, close to the coast, southern from Rimini, Misano, the Riders' Land, with another important circuit, which is the Misano World Circuit. Together with us, there is the Managing Director of Misano World Circuit, Andrea Albani. Andrea, well, first of all, why Riders' Land?
Okay. Hello to everybody, and welcome in advance for Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. The title is with Marco Simoncelli, that is one of the most important pilots of our land. In fact, our land is in the heart of the Motor Valley, but as we said, usually the manufacturing company are between Modena and Bologna, while the motorsport, the pilot, the team was born and lived around the circuit. In fact, the circuit was born at the end of the 60s, as a consequence of the end of the race competition on the city. So it's important for the safety to build a circuit where the motorsport works. So a lot of competition between Ravenna to Pesaro, and Misano was born as this consequence. The ecosystem was ready. A lot of pilots like Renzo Pasolini is one of the first pilot, important pilot of our land. And while now, after a lot of investment, we host the most important bike competition, MotoGP, Superbike, endurance, Italian competition, and so on, and also the World Ducati Week, the most important two wheels reunion. And around the city, around our circuit, was born and lived more than 25 pilots that are in the MotoGP. Because we are a sort of a big gym where the pilot can train themselves and work to become the real championship. As we have seen 2 weeks ago, a lot of our pilots wins the three competitions.
Don't spoil it too much. Let's make a big focus on that. The MotoGP. The MotoGP was a few weeks ago, and it represented the first important sport event in the region after the lockdown. You managed to do that. It was not so sure. Obviously, there was a lot of work to organize all the procedures, all the protocols. How did you manage to succeed in it?
Yes, it's a really double thriller for the MotoGP and to organize this important opportunity for us and for the motorsport and for our land, because we are the first circuit that opened the door and permit to come back the spectator, our fan, coming on the grandstand. This is for us a great success. And we hardly work with the Regione Emilia-Romagna to realize organizational model with a lot of procedure, but at the same time we invest in infrastructure. We built 18 grandstand, 18 park, safety road, infographic and app to help the spectator and the fan to live enjoy the MotoGP in totally safe. And we have also
sorry, Andrea, what we were seeing in the video were just the safety procedures to go inside the track during the MotoGP.
Yes.
So really strict protocols, but we can say really we are very proud to...
Yes, we are very proud because now we are more confident to see the future and to live the possibility to think that in the next era to host a lot of the events that are in our program. So this is really important. It's really important also for our friend as Imola, because between a few weeks we'll host Formula 1, and the procedure are similar, because we are the Motor Valley district is a big opportunity for all player to have the relation and to help each other, as we've done with Imola, Modena, and Varano. So we are more confident for the future. And this model help us to host the second week after the Formula 1, the Ferrari Finali Mondiali.
Oh, wow. Okay, right. So, but Misano World Circuit is not only big events. There are some other tourist opportunities. You can visit the racetrack. You can do some courses, special courses inside.
Yes, we are a big gym for the pilots, but also entertainment for the tourists and for the fan. We have 3 tracks: international track, handling track is you can use as for the safety test and drive and the safety course. At the same time for the karting, so it's very entertainment. And the last track that we have realized with Valentino Rossi's father, Graziano, is a fat track, is the opportunity to have a very amusing experience, is a drifting experience. So we have a lot of the opportunity to live the circuit with a lot of experience, from the kart to the bike and to the super sport car. So we think that we complete our offer with the visit of the circuit, the Misano Circuit Tour, the possibility to understand and to know well the real technology, the real investment that are behind a circuit that work 290 days a year. So a lot of day of motorsport, 18 weekend of big events. And so with this Misano World Circuit 2, we can have a big emotion to leave the circuit, and we finished this tour with the bike on the track, and we have, as you have seen, a very amusing painting of the track. That painting we have realized with Aldo Drudi, is a famous designer that realized a Valentino Rossi helmet, and this color represent the color of the pilot of the car of our land, the flag and the beach and the sea. So all these images are very interesting for the tourists to do the picture on our terms.
Sure. And well, you were saying that Misano World Circuit, or the area, is like a big gym for the pilots who are living there. Well, it's a good gym, because in the last MotoGP, we had many local winners.
Yes.
We can say
that.
Yeah,
yes. It's very exciting for us.
Yes, it is.
And first of all, the Franco Morbidelli that win the first race in the MotoGP in his life, and he lives 10 kilometers from Misano, and is in the Valentino Rossi Academy that work with us to improve the pilot, and now we think that the riders land help the MotoGP and the Italian competition to become a real opportunity, not only for the motorsport, but also for the tourists, because these are a real testimonial of our land. So Valentino Rossi, Franco Morbidelli, Pecco Bagnaia, that we hope will be in the next year with Ducati, official of Ducati. And other important pilot, Bezzecchi that was born, and Bastianini that was born in Rimini. So a lot of Romagna are in the paddock of the MotoGP.
Okay, well, that was the great offer of our Moto Valley. Well, actually, some pills just to tease you. We can now open the question time. If there are any question that you would like to make to any of our guests, I can check if something has arrived already. Okay. To Luca Sandri, from Russia, how many cars in the museum, the Ferrari museum in Maranello, how many cars in the museum? Test drive included in the museum entrance. Okay, is it a big collection?
Yeah.
And if a test drive is included in the ticket of museum entrance?
Okay, so first of all, the cars inside the museum, they change quite often, because during the year, the exhibition inside the Ferrari museums may change. Because they have a huge quantity of cars to be displayed, and so the spaces is what it is. It's a big museum, but the space is limited compared to the cars that can be shown. So coming to the museum twice a year or 3 times a year allows you to see every time different cars. I would say that the Ferrari Museum can shows up to, I guess, more than 30, 35 vehicles, I guess. But I would not to say a data which is not correct 100%, but still is a big museum. And then, of course, don't forget that there are 2 of them. One is in Maranello and the other one is in the city center of Modena.
Yeah, actually, that was the next question. But maybe
just let me finish with the first
yeah,
question concerning the test drive. The test drive activities are not run by the Ferrari company, so they are private suppliers that we work together since years, so they are really affordable partners for us. And they are available outside the factory of Ferrari, but the cars can also be moved to a particular location. So in case you have even individuals or a small group, we can gather the cars and get them delivered to the location of where the group is, actually. So, but they are run by private suppliers, not by the Ferrari company itself. Ferrari doesn't organize test drive activities for leisure.
Yeah, yeah. And then, a tour operator from France is asking if you can better explain the differences between the Ferrari Museum in Maranello and the one in Modena, because we mentioned two different museums.
Yes, there are two museums. The first one was built in Maranello, a few walk steps outside the factory. Inside this small village called Maranello. It was built in 1990 and is more focused about Formula One racing. So visiting this museum, you will see the Formula One cars, the Ferrari Challenge prototypes, all the trophies, the helmets of the pilots, the driving suits, those kind of memorabilia. Then, of course, the museum has also some leisure things that can be done, such as driving simulators and so on. And this is the museum located in Maranello. The other museum was built in 2012 in the city center of Modena, where Enzo Ferrari was born. So the museum is Museo Enzo Ferrari because it's more dedicated to the life of the founder of the company. It's divided in two parts. One is the old garage owned by the father of Enzo Ferrari, which now is completely refurbished and now hosts the engine museum, as long as more histories about the development of the logo, the history of the Baracca airplane, because maybe not everybody knows that the prancing horse was the symbol of an airplane pilot called Baracca, who was a friend of Enzo Ferrari. So this is the reason why of the prancing horse. So there is this part dedicated to the engine, and then close to the garage was built in 2012 a very new and modern construction that has the shape of a hood, of a yellow hood of the car, and in this place there is the display of the cars. And also in this case, the display of cars changes several times a year, so it's always new.
Yeah, and I would like to add that in this museum dedicated to Enzo Ferrari, there are also some very emotional videos showing that I need to know that they are appreciated also by those who are really not speed car fans. I mean, it's really an interesting museum just to know the history of this great man, not only for those who are fan of the prancing horse, for speedness and so on. It's really also for ladies, let me tell you.
Definitely, yes, because the museum is a jewel. From an architectural point of view, it's very beautiful. It has a nice shop, a nice cafeteria, so it's a beautiful place to be visited in general. It's very close to the city center of Modena, so I mean, you can visit the city and then you can walk to the museum. Correct. So everything is very in the surrounding of the main square of Modena.
Sure. Thank you, Luca. In the racetrack of Imola, which kind of races are scheduled at Imola?
Okay, well, at the moment, our main event is the World Superbike Championship, which is normally, not in these times, held in the middle of May, as well as many other national championships from 4 wheels to 2 wheels. So, as we just mentioned, the Valentino Academy, we host the CIV, which is the Italian Championship of Speed motorbikes races, and that's just a category that is, let me say, just below the MotoGP world, so just below Moto3. And that's where you see the young drivers, the young rookies, just starting to grow and test real racetracks. So coming out of the mini motos and just experiencing and having the thrill of driving on real racetracks. Imola racetrack is really special because of that, because of the up and downhill that is very particular of the track. So the young drivers get a lot of thrill, and it's really fun for them to grow up in this kind of venue. Then what other events we have? We also host the Ferrari Challenge, just as Misano just mentioned, our friend, neighbor Misano. We have the Italian Championship, which is called ACI, Racing Weekend. So it's, let's say, it's almost as a big event hosting many different categories of racing from open wheels, so kind of Formula One, but not Formula One, like Formula Renault or Formula 3000, from GT cars. We also have endurance races, so very, very long races with changing of drivers, almost as of 24 of Le Mans, little shorter than that.
Sure. Then there is a question, but we actually already answered to this. If there is a possibility to organize private event at Imola Racetrack,
well, yes, of course.
We talked about it already.
Well, yes, of course. We have the chance of renting out the full track, just to have it private for your own group, to have test driving maybe, or being escorted by professional drivers as well. We offer the chance of renting spaces for conferences, for product presentations as well, to be partnered up with the chances of driving on the track, or just if you want to experience the driving but not being on the track, also the simulator experience. That works really well with the small groups of incentive or MICE, just to combine the two things together.
Andrea, what about Misano? Is it possible to organize private event in Misano as well?
Yes, of sure. It's the same. We have a different around the circuit. We have the sea, the beach, and it's easier to organize in Misano. We have a lot of hotel, and we have the building where we can host the product presentation, meeting, and we have a restaurant with a swimming pool. So it's fun for the customer.
Of course. Okay. Well, I think that, well, I hope you drawn some good inspiration for your future tours in the Motor Valley of Emilia-Romagna. Obviously, that was the subject matter of this fam trip, or everything concerning Motor Valley. Quite difficult that you will come just for the Motor Valley. In fact, what is the big offer of our region is the lovely combination with many other products of our region. And this is why in the next fam trip, who will start in 45 minutes at 5:30, we will talk about food, one of the most popular and appreciated product of our tourist offer. But stay with us also in the next days, because tomorrow we will talk about sport and wellness valley, and again at 5:30 historical villages, nature and Apennine. Then the third day, on Thursday, we will focus our attention on culture, talking about the UNESCO heritage sites, and in the second one of Thursday is about culture, cinema and entertainment. So really full and very varied offer of Emilia-Romagna region. Well, let me thank you, our guest. Thank you very much for being here. And of course, I need to do a special thank to all the authorities and the big efforts of the authorities and institutions and local and regional that made this event possible. The workshop that you will attend on Friday, this fam trip to let you know, to learn more about Emilia-Romagna. So stay with us. We will see you again just in a few minutes, 5:30. I wait for you here. Arrivederci.